Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria. I'm a vlogger, I'm a mom, and I love talking about my favorite things, including books, jewelry, style for moms and women my age. I'm actually in my 50s and I have three beautiful children. I have a wonderful husband who supports my little hobbies like this. And yeah, so I also am a book publisher and editor. I edited and published a book for my dad. It is called The Criminal Case Digest, which talks about cases that are tried by the Philippine Supreme Court in the Philippines. And my dad and I have worked on it together, and it has published 2 years before he sadly passed away in 2023. And I have some videos actually just paying tribute to that book, paying tribute to him, and I think he's such a brilliant lawyer. I grew up watching him because he would bring me to courts whenever he would try a case, whenever he's either a defense attorney or he's a prosecutor. And I thoroughly enjoyed it so much, and that inspired me to go into law school. I finished at least 3 years of law school, and on my going to fourth year, I, destiny changed because I met my husband and he kind of like swept me here to Canada. And yeah, I've been trying to pursue it, and I think publishing the book in 2021 was kind of a reminder for me that I need to pursue this dream. So we'll see how it goes. I've actually started a like kind of like a special episode kind of for why we crave luxury, because being in Canada, we are bombarded with all sorts of videos, on social media that, like we're constantly trying to find our place in our world. And for some reason, these luxury brands caught our eye. So, luxury brands are mainly brands who apparently have, like a kind of like a history, a heritage, who that have started like many, many years ago, like decades ago. I wouldn't say centuries ago, but maybe in the case of Louis Vuitton, the creator of Louis Vuitton started making luggages for the Shah of Iran way back in the early 1900s or late 1800s. And I thought that was very interesting that they kind of like use that to get to people, to get the attention of people. And throughout this video, I don't think people would like what I am going to say about craving luxury brands. So I googled the history of Louis Vuitton because I know I've been educated about the heritage of this luxury brand, because I used to work at the Louis Vuitton store here in Canada, one of the newer stores actually. So I think it's only about 10 years old. Oh my god. Okay, so I worked there in 2021 only during the holiday season, like the what do you call that? Like a temporary or seasonal is what we call it. I was a seasonal employee. So it's a CA, which means it's a client advisor. That's what we're called We're not called customer service people, we're called client advisors because I just was thinking about it. If you think about it, only lawyers, only doctors, or I don't know, like, like high-end banks and financial companies have clients, right? But if it's retail, it's always customer service associate. So we are not called just associates, we're called client advisors. I think it gives a little bit of, kind of like a prestige to the title. But anyway, we are just actually retail associates who are trying to sell overpriced luxury goods to people who are willing to spend their money on a brand. So, in one of my videos, if like you are using 2 or 3 credit cards in order to afford a $5,000 bag, it's not even the point of using that. So, as I was saying, I used to work at Louis Vuitton, and we were called client advisors, CAs, or SA, sales advisors, because it's a kind of like a more prestigious title to have when you work in a luxury brand. But all we are actually retail sales associates who are trying to sell overpriced luxury items to people who are willing to spend that kind of money on a bag, on a pair of earrings that are not even real gold, who want to spend money on the silk scarves with the logo on it, just so you know they can feel accomplished. I think that's what it is. In one of my videos, I did mention that I had a client who was willing to use 3 credit cards enabled to purchase a $5,000 bag. Working at a luxury brand, you're not supposed to tell them, please don't do that. Please wait till you can use just one credit card. But so, of course, she did it, and I had to put it through painstakingly, even though like it's for a bag that's not even like real leather, and the commission on it is not even that good. So, you know, there are many things I learned working in there that actually kind of this disillusioned me from letting some brand, some CEO who I don't even know personally to let go of my hard-earned money, or whichever, even if I have the extra money, like they're controlling how I spend it, right? Like, don't you think so? So anyway, more on that in another video, but I just decided that I could probably for the very few that are watching this video, or very few have subscribed to my video, I hope we all learn a little bit of lesson from all those TikToks that came out, that these luxury brands actually hire manufacturing like factories in Asia, not necessarily China, right? To mass produce their bags, or probably do the initial production of the bag, and the stamping can happen in Italy or in France, just so they can say, oh, it's made in Italy, it's made in France. So I'm doing a little bit of reading about it, and it was actually claimed by that same TikTok video. So I thought I'd go deeper into it, and I will share it with you. So, you know how Louis Vuittons, Gucci's, they're made in Italy. Louis Vuitton pride themselves in being made in France. So here goes. The Made in France label is governed by French and European laws, primarily concerning product origin and consumer protection. It's a voluntary label for non-food products, meaning manufacturers can choose, meaning the luxury brands, can choose to use it if their products last substantial transformation occurred in France. So, the key aspects of the Made in France law. European and French custom code, the labels used is governed by the rules of non-preferential origin as outlined in the European Customs Code. Substantial transformation means a product is considered made in France if it has undergone its last significant transformation in a French factory, resulting in a new product or a product at an important stage of manufacture. Then consumer protection. Manufacturers must not mislead consumers about the product's origin or the extent of French involvement. So, some of these brands are already committing some type of fraud because they said, their bags, mainly Louis Vuitton and Hermes, are basically made in Italy or in France. Right? So the keywords are last transformation. So what's the last transformation? Because like the TikTokers who claim that 80% of the Hermes bags or the luxury bags are actually ordered from them, and they labeled the boxes which ones are supposed to be stamped as made in France or made in Italy, like when they ship it to the European brands wherever they are in France or Italy, to be stamped. So that's actually considered a transformation. It's not just stamping it, you're actually putting a new name on the bag or a brand name on the bag. That's an actual transformation because it's very different from when there's no label, right? So I thought I'd share that with you. Last transformation. So you will see some Hermes bags where there's like some artwork on it. I'll show you one in this video. This is actually an Asian lady who started off as a what do you call that? Like a on an airplane, like a stewardess, right? And she met this really really rich Chinese businessman. And fast forward to a few years, she has a collection of over 100 Hermes bags. Um, so when you do the math for the Hermes bags, I'm gonna go to the Hermes bags for now. When you do the math, there is this video from last year where Vogue featured a day in the life of the not the operations director but a marketing person of Hermes. And like you will see some scenes in that video where she talks about like how the design comes to light. Like she was practically telling people that the design actually happens in that building with a group of people, and then she would have somebody, I'm pretty sure it's scripted, somebody comes in with two Hermes bags, like you'll see it's a black and white kind of thing. Like I think it's both a Birkin, and it's a kind of one of their limited edition ones, like a black and white one, where she just takes a look at it casually, and then like if you if you zoom in to the face of the lady, she's like her face says like, oh okay, I'm done, I'm gonna go outside now with these bags. Like there's not even any talk about them, like like any, I don't know, like she didn't even talk about it. Like the girl in the video didn't talk about it when that girl with the two handbags left her office. Simply put, you can tell everything was very scripted in that video because she also showcased this little work room or workshop in that building where you can see artisans and there was also one girl who doesn't look like an artisan. And please don't give me a hard time for this, but when you take a look at this lady, she's she has like fully manicured fully manicured burgundy nails. And if you're an artisan, like you're even whatever stage of the bag you're kind of creating, no, you can't have those well polished nails, because like I I make jewelry, and jewelry is soft. It's not even leather. I don't use like hammers or something, or like pins for leather. And like I can't keep up with my manicure, because you need your nails short and unkempt to make jewelry, let alone an artisan who works on leather bags that are sold for over $30,000 each. So um, there's something fishy with that video. I'll link it to down below, so you can kind of watch it. So Hermes really, kind of like got us into believing that each bag is really, handmade. So they said that it takes about 4 hours to make, not 4 hours. There was one that says 4 hours, and there was one, like, I think she said about 8 to 12 hours. So we'll do, because between 4 and 12 hours, it's probably depending on the size. So we'll go with 8 hours. So if one bag costs about, takes about 8 hours to do, right? So how many bags can they produce in a day if they only have, like in that little workshop, they had one, two, three, about 8, like just 8 artisans. Okay, so if you times that 8 artisans, that would be about, they can do about 64 bags in a day, right? So how can they say that there is a a weight, like a weight list for each bag? And then I just don't get it, right? If Louis Vuitton says, oh, it takes about 4 hours to take a bag, and we have like 30 artisans who are actually creating the bag or stitching the bag and everything like that, like I would probably believe it, because I know Louis Vuitton, especially the Neverfull, the Speedy, those ones that you can buy right away. I know they're mass produced. There there's also rumors that these French and Italian luxury brands, they bring in bag makers who are so skilled from Asia. They bring into their factories in very bad conditions. So more on that on another episode. So if you can make 64 bags a day, and artisans are working at least 5 hours a week, you can do 320 Hermes bags, right? And that is only if you can actually hand make a bag for 8 hours. But then you have to consider, you have to cut the leather, you have to kind of like quality control those little nails or whatever pins that you put on the bags. You need to quality control the all of the hardware that goes on it. Then you still have to stamp it. How can you do that in 8 hours? Like I watched a video of a bag being made. Like, I know it was a video, so it probably took about 1 hour to watch, but in real time that would have been like 2 or 3 days. And so what's funny also is that there was another spokesperson for Hermes, and I'm gonna try to find the video and link it here in this video. She said it takes about 2 weeks to make one Hermes bag, just so they can say that it is actually handmade, hand stitched, hand cut, hand polished by a French artisan or an Italian artisan. So a lot of these stories, you really wanna you're really going to think about it, because a lot of these are just to market the product as high end and scarce, or a limited edition, or you have to be on a waiting list. So the key word for these luxury brands is actually status, right? So, and after I talked about status, we're going to economics. So, the social status of women has evolved significantly throughout history, moving from traditional roles emphasizing domesticity to increased participation in various sectors, including education, the workforce, and politics. This evolution has been driven by factors like industrialization, social movements, and changing cultural norms. So, before, a status of a woman is defined by how she is as a wife, how wealthy her husband is, how good the job of her husband is, how nice her house is. So, and then fast forward, you kind of like think about it. Some women decided that, they can work, they can be part of politics, they can be in government. So I really admire women like that. And then for some reason, the status now became, like if you can buy your own house, right? So if you're a single woman, like you're a boss babe, boss lady, you can raise your children on your own. You don't need men. And like you can build your own status on your own by having your own business, by being a CEO of some big company. Um, you know, um, that's where the status went. But then another time, fast forward again, in these times, or like in the past 10 years, even before COVID, you will see that, the women now flaunted their status with expensive items, i.e., luxury handbags. So Louis Vuitton, like take for example, we have Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn was a style icon, right? Like she was the person why the Louis Vuitton Speedy, the bag was invented. There's a whole story to it. So apparently, because like when I was at Louis Vuitton, we actually learned about the celebrities who had, shaped the future of each type of of an LV handbag. So how was the Neverfull created? When did it first come out? The Speedy, the size of the Speedy, the 30, the 35, and then we have the Artsy. I have the Artsy, which I really love, and I think it's one of the well-made ones because of the. I love the braiding on the handle, and I've taken it in the rain, in the snow, and I think I just got lucky because the, what do you call that, like with the leather, right? Like the leather like got its color like very nicely. So I think I bought it for less than 3,000 way back when, like about 5 years, no, 4 years ago. Ray got it for me for my birthday, I think, 51st birthday. So, and our anniversary, all in one. So anyway, um, why did some women actually started flaunting the, those luxury brands? Of course, we see it on celebrities who are very successful. We see Victoria Beckham with an Hermes bag. We see Reese Witherspoon with an Hermes bag. And then we see some other celebrity with the newest Louis Vuitton, like the young girl Zendaya, being like a Louis Vuitton ambassador. Then Rihanna, a Louis Vuitton monogram ambassador, like the monogram print ambassador. But we have to remember, ladies, guys, that these people, the ones that are in the ads, and if they're flaunting it, during their personal time, if they're out and about, they're getting paid to do this. You know what I mean? So even like with Victoria Beckham, you don't know if she gets a discount with the Hermes bag. I don't think anybody who's like a business minded celebrity, a business minded person, would actually shell out $50,000 or $200,000. They probably struck a deal with Hermes because of their celebrity status, because of how many people they can influence, that you need this bag because I have this bag. So I guess, we just want we want to feel the lifestyle of these celebrities, and we want to have that kind of like illusion that we can actually get there, right? So and that is just my opinion. Like if you really like handbags, luxury handbags, and I really admire people who put aside money from their paychecks, if able to afford it. But like if you're using all of your credit cards just to buy a bag, I think it's something you have to think about. So one thing I learned from my grandma actually, and from my aunt, who was married to my uncle. They both passed away. That's why I use the past tense. She said, if you really like it, and you have to think about how many times you're going to use it. If it's something that you won't be afraid of, like, I don't know, getting beaten up by wear and tear. If it's something that you can get at least 2 days to use in a week, then yes. But then if you need to think about the price, if it's kind of like out of your budget, or even if you have the budget but you don't want to spend that much on it, then you wait 24 hours, you sleep on it. If the next day you think about it, and then you go there and you're still thinking twice, you sleep on it. 72 hours within 3 days, if you still want to do it. Because she said within those 3 days, when you find a lot of things, a lot of uses for this particular product, especially a handbag worth about $3,000 to $5,000, even $10,000. I think that's 10,000 is just ridiculous. Then you can, right? You can splurge on it. And then if you have the resources for it, then you can splurge on it. In the meantime, you really have to I learned at this age, you really have to set your priorities straight, because chasing status is not really something that you want to do for the rest of your life, right? So I'm gonna go to just simple economics, or just a simple kind of like reasoning or common sense, you know. So while we are chasing status, buying these expensive brands, flaunting it on social media, flaunting it to our friends, just for the main purpose of showing that we're successful, you have to think about the fact that these CEOs, will take for example the Kering Group. Who's the CEO? Salma Hayek's husband. They're very wealthy, right? And they're very wealthy from what? From having these luxury brands under their direction. So Bernard Arnault, right? We're actually giving them their status, because we're spending all of this money just so they can make millions and billions of dollars out of a luxury brand that we're chasing because we want that status. We're actually giving them their status. We're spending our money so they can be wealthy. That's a very simple fact that we have to think about. And unfortunately, because we've done that, we're actually giving the status of their yet unborn grandchild, their yet unborn great grandchild. So that's a lot of like, stuff to think about. Like, do you want to give that status to someone else's child or grandchild, or do you want to have a brighter future for your own children, for your grandkids, right? I don't know. It's really your choice. This overconsumption of luxury stuff, and I am actually into brands. Like I am so in love with Louis Vuitton, and before, so now like at some point in time, at some point in your life, you need to stop obsessing about the status, about carrying a luxury brand. You need to, because you have other skills aside from carrying a luxury bag and making sure no one's around you who can like just grab it, right? Like snatchers who can steal it from you. That's what my kids are always telling me. Mom, don't bring that to the mall. Mom, don't bring that when you're alone in the mall. Or like, Mom, don't bring that in the parking lot of a mall, especially after hours. Like, don't go to the mall bringing that bag. That's too expensive. So, like, how are you gonna enjoy it then? Like, if you're carrying it, like I've seen all these bloggers, influencers carrying their expensive bags on the New York subway. Like you're in Canada, if you're in one of like if you're going to downtown and you have to take the train, there's so many like shoplifters and so many like people who just steal things for a living, right? So do you want to bring your Gucci bag there? Do you want to just like ride the train and have your Gucci bag flaunting it to people who really don't care? They can care less. They have other problems or issues to think about: getting to work, paying the bills, not to think about you carrying this expensive bag, which may or may not be stolen while you're on that LRT, right? So I thought that was something like, it's funny to listen to, but it's also serious. So it's actually raining a lot outside, and at this moment, and the winds it's like howling winds. So I'm kind of getting scared. I'm scared of bad weather. That's something about me. Okay, so in economics, the herm the so the economics of luxury goods. I will kind of like explain more on that after this. So we're going on a little bit of economics of luxury goods. I'm going to read this article to you. The economics of luxury goods are characterized by high income elasticity of demand, meaning demand increases disproportionately as income rises. Luxury goods are often associated with high status, exclusivity, and are non essential, often acting as symbols of wealth and success. They tend to have price inelastic demand, meaning demand remains stable or even increases despite price increases, as luxury goods are often sought after for their status. Exactly what I was just explaining to you about, chasing status, and at the same time we're giving the CEOs their status because you don't even know if if they're buying their own bags, right? Like they just get it for free. Probably they pick one, like the Hermes CEO probably gets the newest style, like every time there's a new one, probably a pick of her color, right? But there was this video, and I'm gonna try to find that and link it here as well. It's a TikTok video where the guy was actually saying he was holding an Hermes bag, like a Birkin, and then he was saying, when you go to an Hermes store, you can't just say, oh, I want to buy that Birkin bag. Oh, I want to buy that Kelly bag. No, they will say, oh, it's not available. You'll have to wait. We have a wait list of 2 years. So anyway, and then they will say, and while you're waiting, you have to prove that you like the brand. You have to wear Hermes, maybe a necklace, earrings, the bracelet, that I really love that leather bracelet with the H on it. I don't know what it's called. You can buy a different type of bag. or you can buy a watch, an Hermes watch. So just so you can say, or a belt or clothes and stuff like that, you have to spend a hefty amount before they can accept you to be on the waiting list. So I'm like, what is that? Like for a bag, you're gonna wait. Why don't you just spend that money that you want to spend on an Hermes bag and get more education? Go to, like, I don't know, go to like post university, go take a master's degree. I think it's better because, first of all, when you keep your mind busy, when you keep learning, there's more chances of you being healthier and thinking and doing healthier stuff, learning more about these things. And a Birkin bag is not going to help you become healthy, right? Maybe you can sell it if someone will buy it from you. I don't think you're gonna break even on the price of the bag, because right now, because of all of these videos that had surfaced against the Hermes company, against the luxury brands, I don't think their value will get retained. Maybe if you bought your bag in the year 2000, like somebody explained it really nicely, really, but very clearly. So if you bought your bag in the year 2000, right? So, and then you bought it for $1,000. Fast forward to 2005, you're able to sell it for, I don't know, $2,000, right? Well, of course, like you will, because like at this time, that bag would probably cost $3,000, right? In like as a brand new bag. So I don't think you will even be able to sell it for 1,500. You can sell it for 1,000, but that's because it's a second-hand bag now. Um, and throughout those years, from the year 2000 up until 2025, the inflation went up, right? So if you put that bag as brand new as 1,000 in the year 2000, it's literally 3,000 this year. So it's the same. But you can't sell it for 3,000 for the value that apparently it is now as a brand new bag. You're just gonna get whatever you paid back then. So or a little bit more, 1,500, because it's way cheaper than having a brand new one. So there's really no logic to it. Like, when the Hermes bag in the resale industry, like you try to buy a second-hand one, and you look at it, make sure it looks brand new and everything, because and then you're paying about 2,000 less. Come on. So that's the economics of it, right? You can't really say that luxury bags are an investment now that they can't even prove, they can't even show an artisan, starting from scratch, creating that bag up until the last little bit of pin to put on it, to the last stamp that says Hermes, made in France. So I think there's a lot to consider before you spend your money on these things. And I am so glad the generation now, even with my oldest one, she was born in 1993. My son was born in 1997, and my youngest one was born in 2007. They are not into all these big brands. The only reason why they would go to a Gucci store, an LV store, or a YSL store is because of me. Because I requested it as a Christmas gift or as a birthday. But then there's just a point in your life where you just have to stop obsessing about it. You enjoy what you have, and put your money somewhere else where it can benefit your family.